this is your June 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is your reading for the month ahead. It's Romy here. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and join me for this month. We're going to open up with the energy of the Six of Wands, and at the beginning of June, you're certainly going to feel like you've got more energy and motivation for something than you've had for some time. This full moon in Sagittarius, fire sign, trining with Mars in Leo. The next day, Venus shifting into fire energy of Leo. All of this coalescing and really helping to give you some new horizons and new perspectives. And I think you're absolutely ready to have some progressive conversations with fresh ideas. You're looking for people who are as open and curious and determined to see the upside of situations. Your destiny is certainly not defined by what isn't working in your life right now. And every indication with where we are heading with that Six of Wands is towards more recognition, more success, and the ability to be able to truly witness like how far you've come in regards to something. But the awareness, I think, for knowing who and what is worth your energy is a true blessing, because in some instances, as you move through this month, like less is more. We don't want you trying to reinvent the wheel and make things overly complicated. In fact, in some ways, I would say that you want to have enough space for a lot more spontaneity in June than you might ordinarily have, because with this increase, this cosmic boost that's coming your way, things will sort of reveal themselves that will be so timely. And if you've like overstretched or tried to overcomplicate things, then you're going to find it harder to devote time to it, energy to it. And what we're seeing here with the Queen of Earth is there's an opportunity to really feel some tangible progress and something really coming to a point of fruition that you'd expected, I think, probably should have happened some time ago. So a little bit late to the party, but nonetheless, it's here. I think what's really important is that you don't get distracted. You do have this capacity through the month of June, Aries, to read the room. And that ability is going to truly help you to avoid conflict. And this is going to be a good opportunity for you to really realize, I think, where the repeat offenders, so to speak, in your life, you know, the ones that are consistently causing discord, consistently creating this drama around you. Of course, when we have Venus in Leo, you know, there's all heart, it's all passion. You know, we want to go big, we want to go bold, but sometimes what comes with that is an awful lot of drama. And one of the things that's noteworthy this month is, you know, Venus is going to be spending an extended time in this fire sign because she'll be going retrograde July 22nd through 3rd of September. So you're going to be feeling into the shadow energy around the 19th of June. So what comes up between the 5th and the 19th, you really want to pay attention to, because you're going to be revisiting this and being invited to kind of really reflect and make some major adjustments to support your own growth. And, you know, sometimes we can end up making those big gestures only to find that our bubble gets burst or things dissolve, or we just seem to hit a lot of roadblocks. So it's not saying don't move ahead, but again, this is helping you to feel like if you can come at things from a slightly more simple, straightforward way than trying to overcomplicate situations, that will also feel helpful if you do have to go back over something, okay? So keep this in mind. Of course, it's one of the more challenging retrogrades that we can experience because it hits so directly, especially in and around our love relationships, our close connections, and what's going on with our prosperity, our money story, our sense of value connected to that. You do have this energy with the Six of Air and kind of really echoing what's going on in the Six of Fire here, of journeying, of moving on, of moving beyond, of sort of leaving something behind and not before time. I think this is, you know, you having processed something and now feeling like you're finally ready to revisit it with like new terms, or even to open up to what else is out there. And in a way, I think when you look back at the experience that you've been through, you can recognize it's been a little bit of a rite of passage. I'm not saying it was easy, far from it. There's clearly been an awful lot of work and investment and, focus that's had to be a part of this, and even the healing that's kind of woven into that. But certainly this is a time now where you're really realizing that, life doesn't wait for anybody, and it's down to you to kind of reclaim these aspects of your life and sort of put yourself back in the driver's seat. And these ships kind of moving, and both of them sort of up high, so also kind of suggesting that you have like these new perspectives on your life. Yeah, and this is huge because it helps you to see your value in a much more powerful way. So then when we do have important conversations that are going to be taking place, which inevitably they will be, especially as we sort of move from that full moon in Sagittarius up to the new moon in Gemini on the 17th, we're going to be revisiting something, and it matters because Saturn shifts retrograde the same day. So the commitment, the agreement, the boundaries that have to be perhaps reasserted, or even the long-term vision that you had, maybe with someone or in something, I think you're also going to be looking for more space or more freedom. And again, like having you in this position where you feel like, well, I've lived and learned and I've now got a lot more experience. So you kind of, know what to ask for, what you're looking for. And, this is a month where I want to sort of say it's like blending and fusing and flowing. This isn't about chasing or forcing, but because you have so much fire supporting you early on in the month, that can create sort of an impulsivity. But the Page of Earth is also inviting us to be a little bit deliberate and conscious again in what we're asking for. And the expectation that we put on ourselves as to how quickly something, can come together. Rest assured, I feel like you've got some really powerful signs showing up that indicate a major sort of night and day moment, actually, a powerful energetic shift to something that feels a little bit lighter. But I still think perhaps you were hoping or expecting for more. There's perhaps something still to learn or to be added into this situation. And where you do get an offer, I feel like somebody is going to reach out to you. So there's no need for you to chase or to try to follow up too many times. Like, they will come to you. Now, you may feel that what they're asking for, you're not in a position to give right now. And don't be afraid to sort of push that back or to just make it work for you based on where you're at and what your capacity is. Like, I think that's going to make a huge difference to your well-being. Otherwise, it seems to sort of get you caught up in like quite a stressful state in your mindset. I think that you're also going to realize that this is a month where the more you know who you are, the more unlikely the world is at telling you who they expect you to be or who they want you to be. And this also feels quite close to home, so you might be having some pressure applied or certainly feeling the energetic vibes of people, looking in your direction and sort of anticipating or, wanting something from you, expecting something from you that, again, maybe you can be that person. Maybe you are able to do that, but right now it might not serve you and it might not suit you. So you kind of have to be able to put yourself first and foremost, in a position that's going to help create balance for you, but also, like I said, give you space to be able to have these fresh new conversations, because there's something that feels kind of staid and old about what some people are expecting from you, and it just kind of goes back into very deep ingrained patterns in particular relationship dynamics that I think you've really outgrown. Now, Judgment comes through here with this beautiful opportunity to kind of just have this rebirth, and we're at this midpoint of the year. Of course, we're going to celebrate solstice on the 21st. Ceres, asteroid goddess, shifts into Libra, Sun in Cancer, solstice, Mercury to sextile to Mars. It's a beautiful lineup, and you're at a crossroads moment here. You have a decision to make, and I think this is also something that you are acutely aware of, even if it's not necessarily something you have shared externally with anyone yet, but the stakes are high, that this matters, that this is quite life-changing. And again, this might not be immediate in terms of what's about to unfold, but you're well aware that your next moves and where you're choosing to focus your energy, your intention and attention really has to be geared towards this, because it's something that's coming from a higher power, a higher calling, telling you, like destiny's kind of speaking here, this is where you're meant to be, this is what you're supposed to be doing, this is where you're meant to be living, this is who you're supposed to be with. You know, all of these kind of messages and insights sort of like echoing around, and I feel like you can't ignore or put them off any longer. And so anything that feels like it's like drawing you away from that or pulling you against it, and you will feel that, especially when that new moon in Gemini happens on the 17th with Saturn retrograde, because we have that push-pull. We have that determination to want to set off new ideas and explore and be very future focused with that new moon, and yet Saturn's slowing it all down and asking us to kind of take a reality check. And, you know, that might not suit. Yet, you know, we know ultimately the direction that we're supposed to be moving in, even if we don't have all the details, even if huge, vast amounts of this feels very uncertain, you'll still have this compelling feeling like something's changing, something needs to change, I need to change, like this has to change. And as you allow yourself like more of this flow energy through the month, I think that's going to also be a lot easier for you to process and know what that next kind of inspired step is. Because otherwise you could just, like we said, end up overcomplicating things. Now we have a really nice aspect on the 19th where Jupiter sextiles to Saturn, and the opportunity is like given to find a solution or the strength to overcome something that's been incredibly challenging. And your advice here with the Hanged Man is to kind of surrender and stop forcing what isn't working, and then you find a new perspective, a new way of looking at it. Something is just kind of turned on its head, and all of a sudden you're like, why did I not see this before? Like, how could I have overlooked this? I think, you know, you weren't meant to see it until now, you know, now that you know what you know and you've been through what you have, you know, there's this just awareness that this is the right time, everything's kind of landing at the right moment. Of course, we've also got Neptune going retrograde at the end of the month, and here the sort of rose-tinted glasses get pulled off. Again, we have this reality check. We're moved out of any kind of illusion or fantasy of something that isn't really all that it seems, and you know, that can be a little tough to deal with. In your fourth house energy, it might feel quite close to home, but at the same time, there's something incredibly illuminating and enlightening about this. The Hanged Man is also encouraging that the spiritual truth, the higher perspective, is yet to be revealed to you, and when it does, it's not that your dreams and your hopes and your desires are shattered, you know, but they might be given a huge course correct or a very significant do-over. And in that, you know, architecting of a new vision for yourself, something lands that feels even more perfect for you. So I would feel open to the ways in which some of these transits are going to be supporting you, even if they end up feeling a little bit frustrating, because they seemingly feel like they're taking you away from the very things that you want. But actually the universe has a funny way of sort of bringing things full circle, and you'll really feel that energy coming through. With all of this fire, you're going to want to explore, and I suppose in some ways you have to say, well, what's the worst that could happen? We have to experiment. We're here to learn, to develop and grow. So it's not a time to be kind of shying away from things, you know. As you have that confidence and courage, then, you know, it sort of feels like the fortune favours the brave for you a little bit. Now, commitment and consistency shouldn't feel like hustle this month. You have to really strike the right balance. And I think you've also learned that lesson previously, so you're being reminded of it again. Even as you sort of feel like you've got some increased energy or time for something, don't then go kind of crazy with that and end up sort of back where you started with something, okay? So if you're new to the channel, we do cover these final 3 cards in our extended reading, where I talk for another 25-30 minutes or so. We'll go much deeper into the reading and see what else wants to come through for you. I'm going to go ahead and just clarify this main reading, see what other messages want to come up for us. Now this month, the soul meditations I've created are around clearing resistance to timelines, which is a really important one. and also transitioning major life changes. So you'll find the links for these in the comment and description box underneath. We've got 4 cups, 9 of swords coming through here. Let's put one more. 5 of cups, okay. Empress, beautiful. Hermit. I want to say, you know, it's going to be important that you don't sort of get into that state of being where you're feeling and fearing the worst, because you can end up kind of altering your experiences. And there's a huge upside to the way that some of these divine detours are unfolding, you know. Okay. Sometimes, you know, people, when we're waiting and willing and hoping for them to change, and we see the evidence of that, and then quickly things seem to spiral backwards again, which some of these retrogrades and Venus especially will no doubt indicate, you know, regardless of what that relationship might be for you. It's a hard place to be, because then we sort of almost feel vindicated and like, well, I told you so, or I knew that would happen. So be really mindful when you're catching yourself saying that to yourself. Yeah, it's all I expected from them. You're kind of in that repetitive storyline, and we need to give you and others the opportunity to grow and evolve past this, okay? So this is Life Soul Vision, which is my Oracle deck. You'll see it noted here. And also Moon Musings, my book. If you enjoy my work, please do check out these creations. They are here to support you on your soul journey. And again, all the links are below. Labyrinth of Sweet Surrender. Soul Stories. Blossoming Soul Song, beautiful. Maverick of the Light, Dancer of the Shadows. Casting out constellations, this is the way, this is the work. Throat energy. Mercury, of course, is moving into Gemini on the 11th of the month, and its natural ruler, it's a beautiful place for it to be. It does make it easier for us to say what's on our heart and in our mind, especially with Venus and Leo as well. So this should be supportive for being able to tackle and address things. At the same time, because I know we've got this energy of you reading the room and avoiding conflict, which I think is wholly necessary in order for you to maintain your peace and focus on the true priorities this month. You have the energy of strength, beautiful, and a master number 44, I like that showing up. If you join me for the extended, we'll also look at a personal question out with the main reading and a relationship advice card for you as well. In addition to going back through this main card spread. And your astrology card this month, Aries, is the moon. So again, we'll go deeper into these. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I'm going to wish you well for this month ahead. Have a beautiful energy of solstice. And I will see you again next time.